Now, though, to Southport, and hundreds of people have attended a vigil last night to pay tribute to the 3 girls who were killed there in a knife attack at a children's dance workshop. Just hours later, violent clashes broke out close to where the girls were stabbed to death. 39 police officers were injured, with 27 needing hospital treatment. Merseyside police described the violence as sickening, and the Prime Minister warned that the rioters would feel the full force of the law. Let's speak to my colleague Nikki Schiller there. Or is Nikki?
Yes, Samantha. So this is where the violence was. You can see the mosque behind me here, and you can see that the road sweepers are here. Locals have been out all morning clearing this area. You can see a young boy with a broom all down this street that you can see here is where the rioters were. They used garden walls. They destroyed the garden walls to use those bricks to throw at the police officers. And when I arrived this morning, all of this area here was full of rubble. There was a giant skip here, and there were JCBs and teams of locals coming out with brooms and cleaning the area up. You can still see down here by the mosque, if we come over here, you can see that right now, this wall is being repaired. So this is the mosque outside where the violence happened, and there are teams of people coming who've come to help rebuild the walls. We've seen messages on social media from businesses saying, just let us know if you've had a wall destroyed and we will come and help do it. The road sweepers behind us clearing this area. You can see on the ground where the fire was. One police van was set on fire and the road is scorched here, but the local community really been out in force this morning to try and get things back to normal. People coming out, bringing drinks to them and making sure that they can get their community back. As you said, this area is literally a 5-minute walk away from where that horrific incident happened on Monday, where that multiple stabbing happened, killing the 3 girls. I want to bring in Tony, who is a local resident. And Tony, you brought your own broom down this morning, didn't you?
Like most people have done. What we've witnessed here this morning is extraordinary. What we've seen in Southport over the last 48, 3 days or so. We've seen the horror, which we don't want to talk about, and then we've seen a situation last night. We had the vigil, where thousands of us got together in front of Lord Street to show heart, compassion and unity, community spirit. And then we had this incident last night, and it's up to the police to determine who caused it, what caused it, but the mosque, as you see, was attacked. Whole areas, people's cars were set alight, the damage is enormous. But the most essential thing is that the community came down here this morning, contractors came here from all over the place, landscapers, motorway contractors, and now we've seen at what time, it's probably about 9:15, 9:20, where this horrible thing happened last night. It's been cleaned away because the community have done that. And that's the most important thing we need to get across, is that no matter what happens in Southport, as a community, we will pull together and we will, we'll drive ourselves forward. It's a fantastic town, it really is. And we have proven to the world what we can do and how we can pull together.
When I arrived here this morning, there was rubble everywhere, and there were JCBs having to pick up that amount of rubble. So, and then we're talking a couple of hours, and it's clear.
In fact, there was a big skip there, remember right, when you got here. But people were here from 6 o'clock this morning. I personally tried to get here for 7:30, but it just shows you what's happened, and also how the local people have been into the mosque and spoken to the Muslim community here, to show unity with them, because there's no room in Southport for this kind of thing. And although it's totally circumspect at the moment, we totally believe as a community this was not done by people from Southport. They came from somewhere else. It's up to the police to determine that.
Yes, well, the Police and Crime Commissioner has said that they're from out of town. The local MP has called them thugs from out of town who have disrespected the families who have lost.
And you've got to remember something else, is that our ambulance services, the ambulance services that came here last night, the police that were here last night were probably the same people who had to deal with the horror on Monday. Now, just think about that, you know? The police and the ambulance service who've done so well to coping with an awful situation, because they probably are the same people that had to deal with this last night.
What did you make of the vigil last night?
It was very moving indeed. We had 1 minute silence, and it's usual to get silence on Lord Street. But the faith communities came together, the people came together, there were families there, you know, and people laying flowers, laying balloons, putting cards there. Again, it showed the strength of Southport as a community. It really did. There was a real sense of unity and love. And that's what this town's about. It really is.
It is, and we said this yesterday, a quiet seaside town.
Yeah, very much so.
How is it going to recover from those horrific events on Monday?
I think that in terms of the leisure, I mean, obviously you can speak to Norman Wallace, but in terms of the leisure community and hospitality community, this could be very potentially damaging, because we have a situation where we're trying to promote Southport as a family resort, as a seaside resort, and this kind of incident, or these kind of incidents, have obviously going to have a tremendous impact on the image of the town. And what we've got to do as a town is that we've got to try and get together and show that this is what Southport's really about. It's a fantastic town, it's a lovely town to visit, and it's a real fantastic sense of community as well.
Are you concerned that there could be more violence? The police have got orders in to prevent antisocial behaviour and be able to question people. Is there a concern that there might be further violence?
I think that what's happened over the last few days has created a sense of, a sense of tension and a sense of, what happened. I think the whole town's still trying to recover from what happened on Monday, and now, of course, with this kind of thing. But yeah, I suppose many of the people, holidaymakers, probably are thinking, are we going to go to Southport? And I think if you can speak to Norman Wallace, he'll explain that a little bit further. But all we've got to do is cross our fingers, hope, like I say, as a community, we can keep our ears open. If we know of anything that's potentially going to happen, then obviously notify the police, and obviously we've got our new MP, Patrick Hurley, speak to him and see if he can, again, sort of lead the community with it.
Okay, Tony, thank you very much. Samantha, when I was here earlier, a gentleman who was here had come from Manchester because he had wanted to help clear up. And if you look again, you can see that people are still out with their brooms and their buckets and spades trying to get this area back to normal. And you can see now that the street is being cleared. And when I arrived this morning, there was rubble all along this street where those thugs last night, as the local MP called them, had taken people's walls and were using those bricks to attack the officers last night. Now, as we said, there were around 39 officers who were taken to hospital, and the police have, of course, condemned the violence, and they have got these orders in place so that they can hopefully prevent any people getting into this area again. And as I said, it is literally a 5-minute walk away from where that mass stabbing happened on Monday. And we were talking to Tony there about the vigil that took place last night, which was in the town centre. And I was there, and it was very emotional. There was a minute's silence where everyone fell silent. There were people hugging each other, and you noticed that parents who had brought their children there were maybe hugging them just that little bit tighter, because this community is trying to come to terms with what happened, and they have that question, why? And we don't know the answer at the moment because, of course, the police investigation continues. We do know that a 17-year-old boy is in police custody, and he has been arrested on suspicion of murder and attempted murder, and that investigation continuing, Samantha. But you can see here, and what Tony was saying, the community is really just trying to get together to show the community spirit, supporting the families who were involved in that horrific incident, but also, as you can see here this morning, where the mosque behind me was the focus of that violence last night, it has been completely cleared up by the local people in the last couple of hours.